Shadrach Miti, who's at Treasury. And Shadrach, you're at the heart of the matter, where we're expecting that famous briefcase to come out with details of what Kenyans are waiting for with bated breath. What do you have for us from Treasury, Shadrach?
Well, Michael, we are expecting so much from the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, Henry Rotich, who in the next few hours will be speaking to the nation and the entire region, even as he releases this year's government financial estimations. And remember, we are looking, anyone looking at this year's budget estimates will agree that this is the biggest ever budget estimates that this country has ever had. Remember, this year's budget estimates exceeds last year's by about 400 billion shillings. We are talking of 3.06 trillion shillings budget estimates against last year's 2.6 trillion. And so, even as we sit here, remember it is behind the doors in this room that the calculations and the arrangement and the planning of the entire budgetary estimates for this year and next year's financial, the 2018-2019 financial estimates have been calculated. And so we are expecting that when the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, Henry Rotich, comes out to speak, to release these financial estimates, we will be seeking to hear from him how the government and how he particularly intends to fund this budget. Remember, we are in a state where already the IMF has warned Kenya that it's beyond its debt limits and that we are operating dangerously. And so, out of all the things that we will be looking at, Michael, we expect that the Cabinet Secretary shall be trying to highlight how these budgetary estimates will be assisting the government to meet the Big Four agenda. Remember, when President Uhuru spoke a few weeks ago, a few months ago, he talked of the Big Four agenda that includes affordable housing, health care, food security and education. So we will be looking at how does this budget move towards ensuring that that plan is captured and well funded for. But again, we will be looking at how has he broken down to allocate the funds in various ministries and key departments that will enable the government move forward. Remember, as we are speaking now, we have the Department of Interior, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Agriculture, the Department of Defense, and so all these are key issues, and the National Treasury itself, and all these are departments within the government that will be expecting so much from the Cabinet Secretary, even as he lays out the plan both to execute the budget and how to fund it. Back to you, Michael.
Shadrach Miti, who is stationed at Treasury right now. And as we know, traditionally, that's where the minister or the CS comes out with the briefcase, and that briefcase contains a lot of information that Kenyans are waiting to hear. But